You know, it's kind of insane how much the independent gaming market is taking over the attention of gamers these days. Literally weeks after Palworld's trend, we get an absolute juggernaut in Helldivers 2. Much like everyone else on the planet Super Earth right now, I have been playing the shit out of this game. It has been the perfect excuse to hit up my buddies who live hundreds of miles away and be like, hey, do you want to spread some democracy? This game is an absolute masterclass in addictive progression. Not only is all progression accessible in-game, but it's also attainable in a very reasonable amount of time. The first purchasable war bond could literally be unlocked with the amount of super credits you would likely get by level 15. Unfortunately, I didn't realize the war bond was attainable with super credits until after I had spent a good chunk of mine on a bougie set of armor. But if I did not do that, I would already have been able to obtain it. I cannot think of a popular online multiplayer game that has this level of respect for player engagement, and that is largely the reason why it has grown to the extent that it has over such a short period of time. And by engagement, I totally mean badass f***ing gameplay. Helldivers is one of the best wartime simulators that I have played in years. It takes the best from many intellectual properties and meshes it together in a very rewarding system. The fact that you are responsible for the tools that you use to complete missions, and that most of the tools have to be used on foot, is reminiscent of games that created an immersive soldier wartime experience in the past. I think of games such as the old Halo trilogy or Spec Ops: The Line, where the focus on ambiance was highlighted by gameplay. The interesting thing though is that those were very linear campaign experiences where ambiance could be catered to in a more distilled fashion. Helldivers does most of its world building through player discovery. Given that the experience is entirely multiplayer and PvE, the immersion has to happen through gameplay. This makes the player step into the role in a much less outsider observational way. You literally are a grunt, fighting against an immeasurable force. The satirical self-awareness of the game really makes one lean into this, being a cog in the machine that patriotically never asks questions, but does their duty. This makes the roleplay extra fun, because your whole attitude is very tongue-in-cheek. This is something that can be instantaneously relatable in a setting of camaraderie. The premise is super simple and easy to latch onto, and as a result, everyone can be in on the joke. Even your avatar is entirely sold on this propaganda with every stupid quip that comes out of their mouth.
Have a taste of democracy!
The game invites you and your buddies to get together and be ignorant distributors of wrath for a well-funded war machine. If you're an American in particular, this is very meta commentary. It's both commentative and something that is grounded in the reality of human history and present structures of authority. At the same time, though, it is a hopeful unification of humanity in a political and online climate that is heavily divided in real life. The fact that anyone in the world can get together and fight for democracy together against a common foe instead of fighting against each other is something that brings a lot of hopefulness to the player as an individual. This escapism is exactly what I think a lot of people are subconsciously craving in an era where entertainment is filtered through a politically correct lens. We can all acknowledge the flaws in blind patriotism, but we can come together in our self-awareness and have a little bit of fun. I must also mention that the game is incredibly challenging. Not only is it a good way to blow off steam socially, but it's a good way to challenge yourself in a way that's not directly competitive against your comrades. There is still an incentive to keep up with the amount of resources you can use and the levels you can gain, but other than that, you are put up against an external threat with a different type of intelligence, an artificial intelligence. You could maybe argue that there's some subconscious meta-commentary going on there as well, but that sounds like another video. The difficulty levels in this game really make you have to exercise your strategic skills. Whether it's stratagems, ammo retention, or avoiding friendly fire, there are many obstacles to be overcome. The fact that the environment itself is one of your biggest enemies also plays into this immersive world building as well. This goes back to what I was saying about a wartime simulation. The fact that you can literally die from almost anything makes you feel the vulnerability of your situation, and makes the death of a comrade or yourself feel that much more significant.
Nope.
Oh my god! What the f***?
What killed you?
I just got destroyed! What the heck? It sets a certain amount of personal responsibility for your survival, as well as your group's survival. And the fact that things can spontaneously come out of the woodwork to destroy you makes getting close to an accomplishment and failing that much more frustrating, and as a result makes you want to engage with the game more to overcome that feeling of failure. This creates a gameplay loop of figuring out your strategy, and fine-tuning the resources that you use to create the most seasoned soldier. This is directly tied to your level being equated to rank due to your experience. Not only do you gain access to more resources, but you feel like you gain access to more responsibility as an experienced player, making sure that your team is a well-lubricated killing machine. When you have multiple people that feel this way working together, it actually feels reminiscent of a military camaraderie. I mean, even talking about it immediately brings to my head the introduction of each mission. I mean, how can you not be hyped up to do the next mission after that? And even after dozens of times, it still never gets old. It makes me want to salute with one hand and hold my rock-hard erection in the other. This game knows what badass means, and it's proud to unironically put it on display. Whoever thought of this as a gaming concept is an absolute genius, and I have to applaud how fun they made this experience. Me and my buddies will be playing Helldivers for many months to come, and I can tell you that this is not a game that will drop off anytime in the near future. So brew yourself a nice cup of Liber-tea, and join the Helldivers in the spread of managed democracy.